Right now, buried under the state of Texas, there is a stone wall that three farmers hit with a shovel in 1852. And after 170 years, the world's smartest scientists still can't agree on who or what made it. But that's just the beginning. What if I told you there's a spot in Texas where humans lived 20,000 years ago? Thousands of years before the people we were taught were the first Americans. A single dirt pile that forced experts to rewrite history books. We think we know Texas, cattle, oil, wide open sky. But underneath all of it hides a secret world, painted caves, vanished cities, ancient quarries, and structures so strange they break the timeline. Today we're revealing 13 ancient structures hidden across Texas that scientists still can't explain. Some will give you chills. And number one, it changed everything. Stay till the end. We poured our hearts into digging up these forgotten Texas mysteries. So tell us in the comments, which one do you think we still haven't cracked? If this gave you even one chill down your spine, subscribing is just one click. That single click keeps these deep dives coming. Don't leave us buried in the algorithm. Hit subscribe and stay curious. Number 13, the Marfa Lights. We start with the one that isn't buried in the ground. It floats above it. Out on the pitch-black plains near Marfa in far west Texas, people have sworn they've seen glowing orbs dancing across the horizon since at least 1883. These aren't tiny flickers. Witnesses describe balls of light that split apart, merge back together, hover in total silence, then vanish like they were never there. Ranchers, pilots, police officers, thousands of ordinary people have reported the exact same thing for over a century. Now here's the honest part, because we deal in facts here. Scientists have a strong leading explanation: atmospheric reflection. They believe distant car headlights on Highway 67 get bent and scattered by layers of warm and cool desert air, creating floating orbs. Careful studies have matched many sightings directly to passing traffic, and that accounts for a huge chunk of what people see. But, and this is the part that keeps the mystery alive, some of the earliest reports come from a time before cars even existed, before headlights, before highways. So what were people seeing back then? That's the crack in the explanation that science has never fully sealed. Over 100 years of investigation, and there is still no single answer that closes the book on every sighting. Are they car lights bouncing through the atmosphere? Static electricity? A trick of the lonely desert night playing on tired eyes? Or something we genuinely don't understand yet? The truth is, no one can say for certain. And that uncertainty is exactly what draws people here from all over the world. Want to judge for yourself? There's a free official viewing platform just east of Marfa on Highway 90. Go on a clear, moonless night, bring a blanket and a thermos, and let your eyes adjust in the dark for a full 20 minutes before you make up your mind. What you see out there might just change what you believe. Number 12, Fate Bell Shelter. Deep along the rugged Texas-Mexico border, hidden in the twisting canyons of the lower Pecos, lies something that stops archaeologists in their tracks. Carved into the rock are more than 250 shelters, covered wall-to-wall in some of the oldest, most detailed painted art anywhere in North America. Images that were brushed onto stone 4,000 years ago, and some experts believe even earlier. Standing inside, one feels like stepping into an ancient cathedral that no one remembers building. But here's what makes it strange. It isn't just that these people painted, it's where they chose to do it. Many of these shelters have tiny, steep, west-facing floors. They'd have been genuinely miserable places to actually live in, cramped, sloped, and baking in the afternoon sun. So why paint the most important images of your entire culture in a spot you couldn't comfortably sleep in? Researchers now believe the answer is chilling in its simplicity. These weren't homes at all. They were deliberate galleries, sacred art spaces chosen specifically for the images they would hold, almost like ancient museums or temples. The people carried their paints and their meaning up into these hard-to-reach places on purpose, treating them as something set apart from everyday life. And that raises the questions no one can fully answer. What ceremonies happened here? What stories were these figures meant to tell? Every single year, brand new sites are still being discovered in these canyons, meaning the full scale of this ancient gallery network is still unknown even today. We are, quite literally, still finding it. Here's how you can stand where they stood. Seminole Canyon State Park runs guided tours down to Fate Bell Shelter, usually on Saturdays during the cooler months of the year. You can't wander in alone. And that's by design, because the pigments are fragile and irreplaceable. Book ahead, wear sturdy shoes, and prepare to feel very, very small next to something so ancient. Number 11. The Paluxy River Tracks. In the small town of Glen Rose at Dinosaur Valley State Park, you can do something almost no place on Earth allows. You can lower your own foot into an actual dinosaur footprint pressed into solid rock over 100 million years ago. These are real, scientifically documented trackways, some of the finest theropod and sauropod prints in the entire world, winding right through the bed of the Paluxy River. Standing there, you're literally following in the steps of a creature that shook the ground. So where's the mystery? For decades, this quiet Texas riverbed became the center of one of the strangest scientific controversies in America. Alongside the dinosaur tracks, some people claim to find human footprints, supposedly proving that humans and dinosaurs walked the earth at the very same time. If true, it would have shattered everything we know about the timeline of life on this planet. Here's the honest truth, because credibility matters. Scientists studied those specific marks carefully and thoroughly debunked them. What looked like giant human prints turned out to be erosion, deliberate carvings, or misread dinosaur toe drags where the mud smeared. The claims didn't hold up. But the episode remains a genuinely fascinating case study, a powerful reminder of how easily the human brain sees patterns that were never really there, especially when we want to see them. And yet the real mystery is even better than the fake one. These authentic tracks preserve a single frozen moment, a giant predator possibly stalking a plant eater across an ancient shoreline. What was happening in that instant? We can only imagine. Here's the insider tip. Visit in late summer or during a drought when the river runs low and the main track site is fully exposed. When the water's high, the best prints stay hidden beneath the current. Time it right, and you'll place your foot exactly where a dinosaur once stepped. Number 10. Enchanted Rock. Rising out of the rolling Texas hill country near Fredericksburg is something that genuinely doesn't look like it belongs on Earth. A massive dome of pink granite, roughly the height of a 40-story building, bursting straight out of the ground. And here's the number that'll stop you cold. This single stone was formed about 1.08 billion years ago. Not million, billion. It is almost unimaginably older than nearly anything you will ever touch in your life. Now, geologists have solved a lot of it, and we respect the science. They've confirmed it's the exposed top of a gigantic underground rock body called a batholith. Think of an iceberg, where what you see on the surface is only a fraction of the mass hidden below. And here's the unsettling part they openly admit. No one actually knows how deep it goes. The stone plunges into the earth further than anyone has been able to trace. But the truly eerie part is what happens at night. Both Texas parks and wildlife and countless visitors report that the rock creaks and groans in the darkness. Deep, unexplained sounds rolling across the dome. On top of that, it sometimes appears to glitter and shimmer faintly in the dark. Science has answers. The groaning comes from the granite expanding and contracting as temperatures drop, and the shimmer is likely trapped rainwater or wet feldspar catching the light. So the geology is understood. But the feeling the place gives people? That's a different story. For thousands of years, native peoples heard those exact same night sounds and built powerful legends around them. Spirits, ghost fires, sacred power. Stand there alone at dusk and you'll instantly understand why. Here's the move. Arrive in the late afternoon, hike to the summit, and stay as the sun sets and the temperature drops. That's when the ancient stone starts to talk, and you'll feel exactly what the legends were trying to explain. Number 9. The Prehistoric Fish Weirs. Some ancient mysteries are hidden in plain sight, sitting right below the surface of the water, so ordinary looking that most people paddle right over them without a second glance. Scattered across rivers throughout the eastern United States, including Texas waterways, are strange V-shaped and W-shaped alignments of stone built directly into the flow of the current. To the untrained eye, They look like random rocks. They are anything but. These are fish weirs, and they represent a level of ancient engineering that we almost never give our ancestors credit for. The design is brilliantly simple and brutally effective. The stone arms form a funnel that channels swimming fish into a narrow point, where they could be scooped up or trapped in baskets. It's a machine with no moving parts, powered entirely by the river itself, feeding entire communities for generations. Whoever built these understood water, current, and animal behavior at a genuinely sophisticated level. Here's what makes them a true unsolved puzzle. Stone doesn't rot, and stone doesn't easily date. With a wooden tool or a fabric scrap, scientists can run tests and pin down an age. But a pile of river rocks? Far harder. That means for many of these weirs, we honestly cannot say exactly when they were first built, or how many different generations of people repaired, rebuilt, and reused the very same structure over hundreds, maybe thousands of years. One weir might hold the fingerprints of dozens of vanished lifetimes, all layered invisibly on top of one another. And that's the haunting part. These silent stone shapes are some of the most large-scale environmental engineering in ancient North America, and we're still working out their full story. Here's your tip if you love the water. Next time you're paddling or wading a river, watch for unnatural stone, V shapes pointing downstream. If you spot one, you may be looking at an ancient machine, but never disturb it. You could be dismantling thousands of years of history. Number 8. The stone cairn burials of West Central Texas. Imagine hiking across a lonely Texas hilltop and stumbling onto 30 or more carefully stacked piles of stone, clearly not natural, clearly placed there by human hands, and clearly very old. That's exactly what people keep finding scattered across the hills of West Central Texas. These are cairns, deliberate stacks of rock, and some of them are hiding something deeply human beneath the surface. When archaeologists excavated certain cairns, they discovered they were burials. In one, they uncovered the semi-flexed remains of an adult woman, laid carefully to rest beneath flat, slanted stones, an intentional, respectful grave, sealed and marked for eternity. These weren't random rock piles. They were monuments to the dead, built by people who wanted their loved ones remembered and protected. Here's where the mystery deepens. Some of these cairns have been tied to a group known as the Cielo Complex, dating to roughly AD 1400 to 1750. But that's only a small fraction of the story. Across the entire state, there are countless cairn clusters that have never been excavated at all, which means for the vast majority of them, we genuinely don't know who built them, exactly when, or even why. Are they graves, trail markers guiding travelers across the land, territorial boundaries, something ceremonial we can't imagine? Nobody can say for sure, and they keep turning up. Landowners regularly report finding dozens of these piled stone features clustered on hilltops overlooking rivers. Silent, unexplained, and waiting. Each one could be a grave. Each one could rewrite a small piece of Texas history, and most of them remain completely untouched by science. This one comes with a serious warning. If you ever find cairns like these, especially on private land, do not dig, do not disturb, do not move a single stone. Disturbing a possible burial is both illegal and deeply disrespectful. Instead, contact a state archaeologist. You might be reporting a discovery that solves a piece of this puzzle. Number 7. Alibates Flint Quarries. Way up in the windswept Texas Panhandle sits a place so historically important, it holds a unique title. It's the only national monument in the entire state of Texas. But its real claim to fame is far older and far more staggering. This is one of the oldest quarries in all of North America, a site where, as far back as 13,000 years ago, Ice Age hunters came to mine stone, while mammoths still roamed the plains around them. What they were digging for was a rock unlike almost any other, Alibates flint. This isn't dull gray stone. It's a stunning, rainbow-swirled material streaked with reds, oranges, purples, and whites. And it wasn't just beautiful. It could be chipped into razor-sharp tools and spear points, making it one of the most valuable natural resources of the ancient world. To these people, this hillside was worth more than gold. Now here's the fact that truly stuns researchers. Tools made from this specific, identifiable Alibates flint have been found hundreds of miles away, scattered far beyond Texas. Scientists can trace the stone back to this exact spot because its coloring is like a fingerprint, and that reveals something extraordinary. This single Texas hillside was a hub in a vast ancient trade network stretching clear across the continent, thousands of years before anything resembling a road, a wheel, or a written word ever existed. That's the part no one can fully explain. How was that network organized? How did people so far apart, with no common language we know of, arrange to trade, travel, and pass this precious stone across such enormous distances? The logistics of it remain a genuine open question. A glimpse of an ancient economy we can see the results of, but can't fully understand. To walk this ground yourself, you'll need to book a free ranger-guided tour. The fragile quarries aren't open for solo exploring. Reserve ahead, and you'll stand where mammoth hunters once mined treasure. Number 6. Morhiss Mound. Not every mystery is about ghosts, aliens, or lost civilizations. Some are far more frustrating, and this next one might be the most maddening on the entire list. On the banks of the lower Guadalupe River in Victoria County sits a low, unassuming earthen rise known as Morhiss Mound. Drive past it and you'd never look twice. But this quiet mound has been quietly guarding its secrets for the better part of a century. Back in the 1930s, archaeologists from the University of Texas came here and dug in. Right away, they hit a fundamental question they couldn't easily answer. Was this mound built by human hands, a deliberate, purposeful construction, or was it a natural accumulation of soil that people simply happened to live on top of? Even standing on it, examining it directly, the experts of the day debated it. And here's the twist that makes Morhiss so perfect for this list. The major excavation wrapped up on the eve of World War II. Attention, funding, and manpower vanished almost overnight as the world plunged into war. The result? Despite being nearly completely excavated, this site was never fully analyzed and never properly reported. The artifacts, the bones, the field notes, thousands of clues about ancient life, were boxed up and placed in an archive, where much of it still sits today, waiting. Think about that. A site that could tell us the story of thousands of years of hunting, fishing, and gathering peoples along this rich river remains, in a very real sense, unexplained. Not because it's supernatural, and not because it defies science, but simply because the work was never finished. The answers may already be sitting in a storage room, waiting for the right researcher and the right funding to finally unlock them. The takeaway here is a powerful one. Not every mystery hides in the ground. Some hide in forgotten boxes on a shelf, and the truth is closer than we think. Number 5. Hueco Tanks and the 3,000 Masks. Out in the harsh desert east of El Paso, where water is life and death, nature carved a series of natural rock basins that trap precious rainwater. For thousands of years, that water drew people across the brutal landscape like a magnet. And those people left behind something absolutely staggering: over 3,000 pictographs painted across the rocks, including the largest concentration of ceremonial mask paintings anywhere in North America. Let that sink in. Not the largest in Texas, the largest on the entire continent. And these aren't scratchy little doodles. They are haunting, carefully painted faces, masks with wide, staring, hypnotic eyes, created by the ancient Jornada Mogollon people who once gathered at this desert oasis. To stand in front of them is to feel centuries of eyes staring right back at you. So what do they mean? Researchers believe many of these masked figures represent rain and storm deities, which makes powerful sense in a place where water meant survival. These were likely sacred images, tied to ceremonies begging the sky to open and the rains to come. In a desert, nothing mattered more. But here's the mystery that lingers. The precise meaning of many individual masks remains debated and unknown. And the biggest question of all, why here? Why does this one spot in the West Texas desert hold more ceremonial masks than anywhere else in North America? What made Hueco Tanks so uniquely powerful, so uniquely sacred, that people painted their gods here more than anywhere else on the map? No one can fully say. Here's how to visit responsibly. Hueco Tanks strictly limits the number of daily visitors to protect these fragile, irreplaceable paintings. You'll need to reserve your spot in advance, And if you want to reach the restricted areas where the best masks hide, book a guided tour. Go. Stand before those ancient eyes and try to imagine the prayers once whispered there. Number 4. The White Shaman Mural. Back in the wild canyons of the lower Picos hangs what may be one of the single most important paintings in all of the Americas, and one of the most mysterious. It's called the White Shaman Mural, and it was painted onto the rock thousands of years ago by people whose names and language are lost to time. At first glance, it looks like a scattered collection of strange figures, but look closer, and the truth is far more mind-bending. For a long time, people assumed murals like this were just random images added over the years. A figure here, an animal there. But researchers studying the White Shaman made a breakthrough that changes everything. They now argue this mural is not random at all. Instead, it appears to be a single, deliberate, planned composition, one unified artwork, designed from start to finish to tell a story. In other words, it may be one of the oldest books in North America, written not in letters, but in paint. And what story does it tell? Scholars believe it may encode an ancient creation myth, the tale of ancestors emerging from a watery underworld into the world of the living. Researchers point to a wavy white line running through the mural that appears to divide two realms, the physical world we live in and the spirit world beyond. If that interpretation is right, you're not looking at decoration. You're looking at sacred scripture painted millennia ago. But, and this is crucial, those words may and appears to carry enormous weight here. The full meaning is still being decoded, and experts genuinely do not all agree on what every figure represents. We can sense that a profound story is written on that wall. We just can't fully read it yet. To see it with your own eyes, access is carefully limited. The Witte Museum manages a preserve and offers scheduled tours to the mural. Spots fill fast, so book early and prepare to stand before an ancient masterpiece. Number 3. Caddo Mounds. Thousands of Texans drive past this next one every single day and have absolutely no idea what they're passing. Tucked into the lush green piney woods of East Texas are the remains of a genuine ancient city, built more than 1,200 years ago by the ancestral Caddo people. This wasn't a small camp or a temporary village. It was a thriving community and ceremonial center, home to leaders, priests, and hundreds of people living rich, organized lives. At the heart of it, the Caddo raised 3 enormous earthen mounds by hand, basket of dirt by basket of dirt. 2 were ceremonial platforms, likely topped with important structures where leaders and priests lived and sacred rituals took place. The 3rd was a burial mound, a resting place for the honored dead. These mounds still rise from the forest floor today, quiet green hills that, to the modern Caddo nation, remain deeply sacred ground. For roughly 500 years, this place flourished. Generations were born, lived, worshipped, and were buried here. It was a center of power and meaning in the ancient South. And then, the people dispersed and left. The city that had thrived for half a millennium was gradually abandoned, its great mounds left to the forest. And that's where the mystery lingers. Why did they go? What combined forces, climate, resources, conflict, change, caused a stable, successful civilization to walk away from the home they'd built for 5 centuries? The deeper spiritual purpose of the mounds and the full story of that departure are still not completely understood. An entire ancient world rose and faded right here, beside a modern Texas highway. Don't drive past it like everyone else. Caddo Mounds is a state historic site with a visitor center that brings the whole story to life. Walk the ground slowly and respectfully. For the living Caddo people, you are standing on holy earth, and every step deserves reverence. Number 2. The Rock Wall of Rockwall. Now we return to where this whole journey began. And trust me, it has earned its spot near the very top. Since 1852, when those 3 farmers first struck stone while digging a well, this buried formation has been examined by an absolute parade of scientists, geologists, and forensic experts. And after 170 years of study, they still argue about it. That alone makes it one of the most stubborn mysteries in American archaeology. Here's the timeline of confusion. Starting around 1901, respected geologists classified the structure as natural sandstone dikes, a geological process where sand gets forced into deep cracks in the earth and hardens over ages into wall-like slabs. In 1927, the mighty Smithsonian Institution weighed in and pronounced it natural too. And to this day, multiple modern geologists stand firmly behind that verdict, with one flatly stating, "Man did not build it." So case closed, right? Not quite, because the story kept refusing to die. In 1925, one investigator examined the exposed sections and concluded they were built by a prehistoric race. Decades later, in 1996, an architect conducted his own study and declared that evidence of a human-made structure was mounting. Other researchers over the years examined excavated sections and pointedly refused to completely rule out a prehistoric builder. Back and forth, generation after generation. Let's be crystal clear and honest, because that matters. The overwhelming scientific consensus is natural geology. The evidence heavily favors a formation created by the Earth, not by human hands. But the fascinating, almost eerie fact is that respected, credentialed people kept coming back, kept digging, kept looking closer, and kept disagreeing. That's precisely why this remains Texas's most famous archaeological argument. And here's the best part. You can actually go see it. Sections have been excavated and opened to the public in Rockwall County over the years. Go stand before it, run your eyes along those stacked stone layers, and number one, the Gault Site. And here it is, the number one entry. The one that didn't just add a mystery to the history books, it forced them to be rewritten. Near the small town of Florence in central Texas sits an unassuming patch of ground called the Gault Site. There are no towering ruins here, no dramatic monuments, just dirt. But buried in that dirt is evidence that quietly shattered one of the biggest certainties in all of American archaeology. Gault holds proof of human beings living here going back over 14,000 years. And some researchers push that number even further, 16,000, 18,000, even 20,000 years ago. To understand why that's earth-shaking, you need to know what scientists believed for nearly the entire 20th century. They were absolutely convinced that a people called the Clovis were the first humans to ever set foot in the Americas, arriving around 13,000 years ago. It was treated as settled fact, textbook truth, case closed. Then came Gault. Digging carefully, archaeologists found stone tools sitting in layers of earth beneath the Clovis material. Deeper means older. These were tools crafted by human hands before the supposed first Americans ever arrived. In one stroke, this quiet Texas dirt pile proved that people were here earlier than anyone had dared to claim, and forced experts around the world to redraw the entire timeline of human arrival in the New World. And here's what keeps it firmly at number one. The deepest questions are still fiercely, genuinely unresolved. Who were these mysterious pre-Clovis people? How did they get to the Americas so early? Where did they come from? The debate rages on among the world's top scientists right now today. This isn't ancient history that's finished. It's history still being written out of the ground in Texas. If ancient mysteries give you chills, the Gault School of Archaeological Research occasionally offers public tours and talks. This is the pilgrimage, the very spot where the story of the first Americans was turned upside down. So there you have it, 13 ancient structures hidden across Texas that the smartest minds on Earth still can't fully explain. From glowing lights that predate the automobile, to painted gods staring out of desert stone, to a vanished city beside a modern highway, to a quiet dirt pile that rewrote human history itself. This state is hiding secrets far stranger and far older than most people will ever realize. And maybe that's the real lesson here. The ground beneath our feet is not as ordinary as it looks. History isn't finished. It's still being dug up, argued over, and rewritten, sometimes right in our own backyard. We poured our hearts into digging up these forgotten Texas mysteries. So tell us in the comments, which one do you think we still haven't cracked? If this gave you even one chill down your spine, subscribing is just one click. That single click keeps these deep dives coming. Don't leave us buried in the algorithm. Hit subscribe and stay curious. One important note before you go. Many of these sites are protected state parks, national monuments, or sacred grounds to living Native American nations. Please explore responsibly. Never dig, remove artifacts, or disturb rock art or burial sites, and always follow the rules of guided tours. This video is for educational purposes and reflects the current state of archaeological research, which is always evolving. Protecting these places is how we keep their mysteries alive for the next generation.